Dear students, today we are going to learning about objectives, educational objectives at the macro level. In my last period, we learned the objectives at the macro level. As you know it very well, the objectives which are framed at the macro level will be usually undertaken by the respective educational department or respective bodies which are functioning at the state or central level with respect to India and Karnataka. That is solely the responsibility of the government to achieve. To what extent, in what direction the development has to be happened with respect to imparting the education. ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಳೆದ ಅವಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಲಿತಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳು ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವು ಉನ್ನತ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳು. ಉನ್ನತ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳು. ಈ ಉನ್ನತ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಅಥವಾ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಅಥವಾ ಸಮವರ್ತಿ ಪಟ್ಟಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಾನ್ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಬೋತ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಂಬೈನ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ prepare what actually the students or what actually the society or what actually the aspirants wanted to become, to fulfill their current and their contemporary needs of the society. It is complying with the advance and progress of the society. ಒಂದು ರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಥವಾ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಮುಂದುವರಿಬೇಕಾಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕು, ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕು, ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಗುಣವಾಗಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಉನ್ನತ ಹಂತದ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ಆಯಾ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಇಲಾಖೆಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಹೌಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬಾಡೀಸ್, ಏಜೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ formulate according to the needs of the community. So that's what we studied in the last period, and today we will moving on to the second head of the educational objectives, that is macro level educational objectives. Dear students, today we are going to learning mainly about the objectives of educational technology at micro level. The name itself says what is meant by the micro level. Micro level, it is directly representing the objectives which are to be satisfied at the bottommost level in the education system. The bottommost level in the education system, nothing but the teaching learning processes or the processes which are going to be happening in any kind of the teaching learning ecosystem, mainly in the classroom, mainly in the laboratory, mainly in the ecosystem of the teaching and learning where the students are undergoing through it. ಈ ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಹಂತದ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳು ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಕೆಳಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡು ಬರ್ತವೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಕೆಳಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ. ಉನ್ನತ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಕಂಡು ಬರ್ತವು? ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ರೋ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತವು. ಕೆಳ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಕಂಡು ಬರ್ತವು? ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಕಂಡು ಬರ್ತವು. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ಉನ್ನತ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಆಯಾ ಇಲಾಖೆಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಈ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಡ್ತೈತಿ. The formulation of the objectives at the micro level solely lies on the teacher of that particular subject or teacher of that discipline, which is going to be happening either in the classroom, either in any kind of the laboratory, or either in the any kind of the complex school complex ecosystem. ಶಾಲಾ ವಾತಾವರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿಯಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ನಡೀತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಆಗಿರ್ತೈತಿ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳದವು? Let us move on to what type of the objectives, the educational objectives which are formulated under the micro level. Okay, the first and foremost is, so I am very much thankful to this source. I have taken the source https colon leverage.gidu.com. I am very much thankful to this blog. Okay, fine. First micro level objective is to discover and analyze the characteristic and educational requirement of every student. As I said it directly, the objectives which are going to be formulating, it is directly concerned to the learner. At last, learner's learning is the ultimate, which is going to be realized by the teacher through his teaching learning process, that is through his approaches, how best he is going to be imparting in the effective way. So that's what I am talking about here. What are the requirements of the every student? Usually in all the classrooms, or if you take any kind of the classroom, suppose there are 40-50 students are in the classroom, each one is having his own uniqueness in type of the learning. Their interest differs, their IQ is going to be differing, their participation is going to be differing. Some are exhibiting the overt behavior, some are covert behaviors, some are fast learners, some are slow learners, some are mischievous. So like this, so there are number of attributes, we call it as attributes, that each learner is having. So to fulfill, to manage, we have to analyze each and every student. This is the most important aspect of the teacher right now. ನಾವು ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, we will take the textbook, we will take the syllabus, we will prepare on this one, immediately we will go into the classroom. Once we enter into the classroom, we will start to teach. That is not the thing here. We have to understand the students at the outset to formulate this micro level of the educational objectives. This is the neglected area that the teacher is going to be doing. Teacher ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಏನ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಒಂದು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಒಂದು 45 ನಿಮಿಷಕ್ಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ತಾಸಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ವೆಲ್ ಇನ್ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್. ಈ ತರ ಟೀಚ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. we are going to following certain sort of the methodology, skills and strategies with respect to teaching, learning, evaluation and usage of the teaching learning processes. These are right, no problem at all. Okay, these are the professional task of a teacher during the process of the teaching, no doubt at all. But at the same time, we have to understand how many students are there, what are the characteristics of the students, what the student actually wanted. If the poor student is there, which method, strategy or management of that particular students that is suits most, what type of the social atmosphere has to be created. Understand my point here? So that is why create a portfolio of the students with respect to their interest, IQ, attitude, learning habits, participation in the classroom or in the teaching learning entire process, with respect to homework, with respect to classroom assignment, so that we have to take up the entire perspectives of the students so that understand it. Take the name of the one student, list out what are the characteristics, whether is he interested in the classroom, whether is he interested in that of the participation in the group activity, whether he is interested in usage or participation in any kind of the laboratory work that the teacher asks him to take the part. ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ನೀವು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಚಿತ್ರಣವನ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅವ್ರ ಗುಣಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳನ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾವ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಬುದ್ಧಿಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾರಿದೆ, ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಡಲ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕೆಲವು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಬಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್. ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು expose or tender their views before the students for any kind of the interactions that is happening there. ಏನೋ ಹೇಳೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇವನ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಟ್ because of shyness, because of some other reasons, because of sometimes they are feeling that whether whatever I am telling right or wrong, we don't know, that shyness will be existing in the mind of the student. That should be rooted out from their mind by just interacting them, encouraging them, motivating them, give opportunity for them. So like that, we have to discover first, identify first, analyze them and the characteristics of the each and every student and their list out their requirement. Accordingly, you have to move. This is the foremost importance of the micro level objectives. Second one, to determine and state the specific behavioral classroom objectives. You will come to know later on while writing the lesson plan that how to write the lesson plan, what are the objectives. Usually knowledge, understanding, application, skill, attitude, interest. Okay, like this we are going to using all these 6-7 type of these instructional objectives, or else you can say it as a learning objectives. Then each objective, say for example knowledge I have taken here, it is having the specifications, recall and recognize. So therefore accordingly with respect to specifications of the knowledge or the understanding or the other type of the learning objectives belongs to the cognitive domain, cognitive domain and psychomotor domain. You have to write the classroom objective in terms of the behavioral end products. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಗ ವರ್ತನಾತ್ಮಕ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್, ನಿರ್ದಿಷ್ಟ ವರ್ತನಾತ್ಮಕ ವರ್ಗ ಕೋಣೆಯ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ನಿರ್ಧರಿಸಿ ತದನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವುಗಳ ಹೇಳಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. Understand my point. For that purpose, you have to understand what is meant by teaching objectives, or what are the teaching objectives, what type of the teaching objectives are there, like knowledge, understanding, skill, attitude, like that. Many more objectives are there. So each objective is having specifications. Say for example, compare is there. This is one specification, specific behavioral term. This is called as learning outcome. Understand my point? ಈಗ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಏನಿದೆ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಇದೆ, ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಇದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಈ ಜ್ಞಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಕಾಲ್, ರಿಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವ ಎರಡು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಏನದವು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ನಿರ್ದಿಷ್ಟಿಕೆಗಳಿದಾವೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಈ ನಿರ್ದಿಷ್ಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಬಳಸಿಕೊಂಡು ನೀವು ಈ ಒಂದು ವರ್ತನಾತ್ಮಕ ಪದಗಳನ್ನ ಬಳಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಅರ್ಥಬದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ನೀವು ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯೆಯನ್ನ, ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ. That should be achievable always in the classroom, whatever you have written and planned out. The workable statement of the objectives, the realized one, it should happen with the realization in the classroom or any kind of the ecosystem. ನೀವು ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಈಡೇರಬೇಕು, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನೀವು ಬರೆಯುವಂತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. What is achievable from your side with the help of, whether it is by adopting the any kind of the methodology, strategy, or usage of the teaching learning aids, any type of the skills, whatever you can do it. But the objectives, whatever you have written or the formulated one with the some prime key words with the help of the specifications, that should be attainable in any kind of the learning ecosystem. ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಏನು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ವರ್ತನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ಚೇಂಜ್ ಅನ್ನ ತರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಬರಿಬೇಕು. ಲೇಟರ್ ಆನ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ನೋ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಟ್. ಓಕೆ, to understand and organize the contents of the instructions in a proper sequence. The organization of the content is very much important. It should be logical one. It should happen with the arranged in a sequential way, in an orderly way, in such a way that, say for example, ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಏನೋ ಕ್ರಮಬದ್ಧವಾಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಟೀಚ್ ದಿ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಕಲಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ at the outset, we should not supposed to go for the characteristics of the democracy immediately. ನಾವು ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಈಗ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವದ ಗುಣಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. That should be arranged in a logical way by following the certain rule of the construction of the curriculum. ಈ ಪಠ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕನುಗುಣವಾಗಿ ಅದರ ಸೂತ್ರಗಳಿದಾವು, ತತ್ವಗಳಿದಾವು. ಅದಕ್ಕನುಗುಣವಾಗಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ನಾವು ಈ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಏನ್ ಬೋಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ದ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್, that should be arranged with the help of or by following certain whatever the predetermined principles of the curriculum setting. Say for example, I have taken already the democracy. I have to teach with the first introduction and then meaning and definition of the democracy, and then characteristics of the democracy, and then go for the types of the democracy. ಈ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪರಿಕಲ್ಪನೆಯನ್ನ ನಾ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೊದಲು ನಾ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. The introduction, it should be in such a way that it should be based on that of the prior existing knowledge, whatever the learner during in his life or what he learned in his previous classrooms. ಈ ಪ್ರಿಯರ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ಪೂರ್ವ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದೇನಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಮುಂದುವರಿತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ತದನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅರ್ಥವನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ, ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡೆಫಿನಿಷನ್. ಲೇಟರ್ ಆನ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ and then types of the democracy. In this way, so on and so forth, you can follow it. So therefore, organization of the content should be in a proper way according to logical arrangement or in a logical sequence. Okay, next one. To organize the existing teaching, learning resources and material. Now in our hand we have the content what we wanted to teach. No doubt about it. Then what next? What next then? Identify the resources and the materials. Okay, on one side, you have to enhance your contentability in deeper manner. You have to go for reading or the wider reading to gain the extra knowledge in relation to that particular topic you have taken it. The teacher should be resourceful person himself as a model, and then he has to select for the other resource material and teaching aids. Whether you can take it as a map, whether you can take it as any chart, any pictogram or any video, or make use of even TV or any kind of the video, computer, etc. and etc. Whatever you want it, according to the, it should suitable to the content whatever you wanted to teach. So therefore, identification of or recognition of the teaching learning resources and the materials are important at this stage. Next one, to identify the nature of interaction of the subsystem like teachers, students, and the content of the instruction, teaching learning material, and different methodologies. Okay, resources are there. Then how to make best utilization of that particular resource in such a way that the interaction always will be there happening between the teacher and the students. This is there, but the thing is that The content, how it interacting with the students, interacting in the sense how the students are going to capturing what the teacher is teaching, that is also interaction. The material is also going to be interacting. What type of the methodology, variety of the methodology integrated and brought forth in the teaching learning processes, that is most important one. So therefore we have to understand the subsystem of all the teaching learning processes, wherein teacher is a subsystem, unit of the subsystem, students are also unit of the subsystem, content whatever you have taken for the teaching is also subsystem, material whatever you have taken for the subsystem, and methodology also is there. Apart from this, many more are there like it, like this, but these has to be organized in a coordinated way. Therefore interaction of, coordination of all these teaching, all these systems should be taken out first. Okay, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಂವಹನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸಂವಹನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. See for example, if I use any kind of the model now here, ಒಂದು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು say for example I want to teach about the Lok Sabha. I will take the pick of the Lok Sabha. Understand my point here? Lok Sabhadu ಒಂದು ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ತಗೋತೀನಿ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನ? You have to interact with that pic also. Interact ಅಂದ್ರೆ you have to show to the students, ask the students mainly who is the head of this Lok Sabha or parliament, whatever it is there. You have to show it. That is interaction. Interaction happen between teacher, the chart, as well as that of the students, and the content whatever you have taken, the mode of presentation methodology, that is whatever you have taken. So therefore these interaction subsystems we have to understand. But a teacher will ತೋರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಹೆಂಗೆ, in what way, how effectively make best use of it. ಕೆಲವರು ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ದೂರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಲ್ತಾರೆ, ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನೋಡ್ರಪ್ಪ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ನೋ, ದೂರದ ನಿಂತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. You have to keep aside, ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಲ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕಾಣುವಂತೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. The pic should be easily observed by each and everybody. Even the back seaters, back benchers should observe it very neatly. And you have to make it with the help of the pointer interaction in this way. So therefore it should happen in this way. Next one, last 10 minutes is there. 3 points are there. To plan teaching strategies and utilize human resources and material assets for accomplishing specific classroom objectives. Accomplishing specific classroom objectives is the ultimate aim of the teaching learning process that is mentioned in the lesson plan itself. You are going to writing the lesson plan. You will come to know it later on what is meant by lesson plan. New lesson plan anna ಪಾಠ ಯೋಜನೆಯನ್ನ ಬರಿತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ. In the future days you will come to know it. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಈ classroom specific classroom objectives, I am repeating the word, accomplishing specific classroom objectives, ನಿರ್ದಿಷ್ಟ ವರ್ಗಕೋಣೆಯ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ಸಾಧಿಸುವುದು ಹೇಗೆ? This is most important. ನೀವು ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ನಿಲ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಹಂಗಾರೆ ಏನು ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ತರಬೇಕಂತ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಿ? Say for example, I will tell you one thing. What is that? Student. ಹೇಳಮ್ಮ, go ahead please.
Student is able to understand the subject matter.
That is in general way. You don't know what the student will understand. Subject matter is what? That is the question. Understand my point? You are trying to say about that. Very good. Your efforts are appreciable. You have taken the understand. You have taken the subject. But what? If you take the understand objective, ಈಗ ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ರಿ objective. Understand is one objective. To understand the subject. Subject is means what? This is why what I am saying here is, ನಾನು content ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ತಗೋತೀನಿ, ನಾನು parliament ಬೈತೆ ತಗೋತೀನಿ. Understand objective. The student will be able to explain about the functioning of parliament. Content taken here is parliament. ಈ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಟೇಕನ್, ದ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಟೀಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಲರ್ನ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್. ಹೇಗೆ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೈತಿ, ದ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ಆಪರೇಷನಲ್ ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ what is my objective? To enable the student to explain about the functioning of the parliament. This is the objective. This has to be achieved by you people. How you are going to achieving? You can show the video. You can show the during the video also you can pause and explain it. You can carry the students to the parliament. Let them come to know how it functions. ನೀವು ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿನೂ ಕೂಡ ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ತೋರಿಸಬಹುದು. ನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದು ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. So therefore the accomplishment of the specific objectives in that case to plan teaching strategy ನೀವು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಿಮಗ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟದ್ದು. So many avenues and opportunities are there to incorporate in your teaching learning processes. So that's what teaching strategies and utilize the human resources and material assets. Human resources means even you can make the drama with the help of your own student, how the parliament and the different types of the roles. Okay, prime minister, other type of the minister, a Lok Sabha speaker, as you know it very well, opposition leader. You can bring forth, even you can create a drama to understand that particular concept. And next one, to evaluate every student's behavioral change and performance to determine the effective of the classroom teaching. Here evaluation comes now here. What the student has learned, the new things, with the help of the evaluation tools, you have to adopt it. To what extent he learned it? Is he learned 100%? Has every student learned to what extent? 50%? As we know it very well. So that's what we have to evaluate the performances of the student. We have to take the different types of the evaluation techniques and the tools. And here the techniques and tools are many more in number. Oral is one technique. Understand? Even you can call the student to draw something on the blackboard. That is also another technique of the evaluation. Even you can assign classwork also to draw something. Draw the neat diagram of the amoeba. The science, the biology teacher can give the assignment. Let them draw their within 5 minutes. Give 5 minutes. They will do and follow the all the assignments whatever given by the teacher. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೌಲ್ಯಮಾಪನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಮೌಖಿಕವಾಗಿನೂ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಸಣ್ಣ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಅಥವಾ ಸಮರಿ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ. ಲೆಟ್ ದೆಮ್ ಗಿವ್ ದಿ ಸಮರಿ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಲರ್ನ್ಡ್ at the end. So these are the some of the techniques that they have the teacher can adopt it. Okay, so even ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಸರಳವಾಗಿ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ ಒಂದು ಅಂದವಾದ ಚಿತ್ರ ಬರೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬಹುದು. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್? ಸೊ ಹೀಗೆ ನೀವು ಏನೇನು ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆಯೋ ಆ ಹಲವಾರು ಮೌಲ್ಯಮಾಪನದ ಸಾಧನಗಳನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಸಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನ ಗಳಿಸಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಈಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್ ಚೇಂಜ್. ಬರೀ ನೀವು ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸಾಗಲ್ಲ. Only bright students should not change their behavior. You should not supposed to teach to only intellectual or above average students. You have to pick even the dullest most students in the classroom. Give a very or a slight pose one simple question to the student so that to what extent he has understood. Understand my point? So therefore these to be taken well in advance during the preparation of the lesson plan before the teaching. ಇವುಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಲೆಸನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ನಿರ್ಧರಿಸಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ. To provide essential feedback to teachers and students for any modifications in the teaching learning operations. Give feedback to the teacher as well as the students. For what? For the modification of their teaching learning operations. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರು sometimes the teacher may make certain type of the strategies which is not fit to the one particular type of the dull students. So therefore we ourselves first introspect and change our attitude, or else you can take the feedback from the students themselves, or ask your peer group teachers to observe your lesson. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಈಗ ನೀವು ಪಾಠಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾವು suppose if you will have been delivering the classes in a real situation in the forthcoming days, surely we will observe and give the feedback for your improvisation, what has to be taken and how your teaching training should be elevated to the higher level. ಇನ್ನು ಉನ್ನತ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನು ನೀವು ಮುಂದೆ ಪಾಠಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ ಶಾಲೆಗಳಿಗೆ, during that time definitely we will guide you and your friends will also guide you. And being a teacher, you have to take the responsibility of the students to what extent the student has learned it. Check them. Go to each student, ask them anything about the content what you have to teach, what you have taught already. ಕೇಳ್ರಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ therefore ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಮ್ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಅಥವಾ ಮರುಪೋಷಣ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಈ ಮರುಪೋಷಣವನ್ನ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರಿಗಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರ ಬೋಧನೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕಲಿಕೆಯ ಏನು ನಿರೂಪಣೆ ಇದೆ ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಾಗಿ, ಅದರ ಇನ್ನೂ ಪರಿಣಾಮಕತೆಯನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ತರುವ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತೈತಿ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ಸೊ ವಿತ್ ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್, ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಟುಡೇ we have learned about the objectives of educational technology at the micro level. ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ, ಇಂದಿನ ಅವಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನದ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಮಟ್ಟದ ಉದ್ದೇಶಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಅಧ್ಯಯನವನ್ನ